What's up, YouTube? So tonight we're going to be making a lasagna. Now it's going to be a lasagna with a few twists on it to make it a little bit healthier and throw some Indian flavors in there as well. So one of my favorite Indian chicken curry dishes is chicken tikka masala. So I'm going to be taking some of the flavors and the spices of that, and I'm going to be incorporating that into the sauce for the lasagna, as well as the next twist into the chicken. So I will be taking some chicken breasts and pounding them out into cutlets, and then also that will be a part of the noodle layer, and then I'll be also cutting some zucchini, which will bring up the other noodle layer, and so there will be no noodles in this lasagna. So it's going to be kind of an Indian fusion lasagna that is low carb. And yeah, so it's with the spices. Now, a typical chicken tikka masala includes various spices: turmeric, cumin, coriander, red chili powder, garlic, ginger, all those different spices are kind of involved in that. Now, everyone doesn't always carry all those spices. I typically do, but I will be using a box spice that's like this. You can pick up at any of your local Indian store or your local Asian grocery store. You'll find it in the spices section. And there's various brands. This particular one is Achi, and I will be using that today. And then we'll be making a little bit of a shortcut to the sauce using canned tomatoes today instead of fresh tomatoes, and making a sauce from scratch. So let's get started. We're going to be breaking this recipe up because it is a little bit involved. Trust me, it is well worth it at the end of it. So with any lasagna, it's a dish that is layered, right? And so we've got the sauce component, we've got a ricotta cheese component, and then you've got your noodle component. So we're going to be taking these each step, and we're going to start off with the ricotta. Okay, so the first part of the ricotta mixture is because I want to incorporate some fresh spinach into the mixture to add just another layer to the lasagna. I've got 2.5 cups of roughly chopped baby spinach here, and then I've got a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in my pan here, and I'm going to just saute this green spinach and maybe just add a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm just going to saute it till the spinach begins to wilt. So now that the spinach that I sauteed earlier has cooled, I've got a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese. I've got 1 egg. And basically I'm going to combine those all together. I'm going to mix them together and then make a ricotta sauce. What I've done here, as you can see, everything's mixed together: the egg, the spinach, and the ricotta. And now I'm just going to set this aside until it's ready to layer the lasagna itself. Okay, so now I've got 3 chicken breasts lined up here. I'm going to cut them in half like that, and then I'm going to be putting them in a Ziploc bag and covering them with saran wrap. And I've got my meat pounder here. I'm going to pound them out into thin cutlets. Alright, so I got my chicken breast cut in half here, and I've got 1 chicken breast in a Ziploc bag. And as I said earlier, you can put that into cover it with saran wrap or any plastic wrap if you prefer. And now I'm just going to kind of pound it out evenly to thin out the chicken breast here. And then I'm going to go ahead and proceed and do the same thing with all of them. So then we want to pound them out to about equal thickness. And then just be careful, because you don't want to get holes in it, and then you don't just evenly pound it out there. So now I've got the chicken cutlets made, kind of pounded them out. I've got 6 pieces here from 3 chicken breasts. And I went ahead and took out a little bit of that chicken tikka masala, the spice blend there. And now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit generously on all the chicken breasts on all sides. Just essentially just like that. Turn it over. Kind of do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to set it aside in a bowl here and just let it sit for a little bit on the side. I'm going to go ahead and continue and do these for all of them. Okay, so now I'm ready to make the sauce. This takes about 20 minutes to build. So I've got my cans of tomatoes opened up. I'm going to be using some oregano, and I've got that chicken tikka masala spice mix there. Got some basil, garlic, some sweet peppers, and some onions. I'm going to chop all this up. I'm going to finely dice the peppers and the onions here, and then we'll get the sauce going on the stove. I went ahead and I've diced the peppers and the onions, got some spices, and I minced the garlic. The basil and the oregano is there with the tomato paste and everything. Just kind of setting aside and just next to the stove here on medium heat. And then I'm just going to start by putting a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And the pan is nice and hot right now. And then at this point, I'm just going to dump in the peppers and the onions. Now, this make sure I get all of that in there. Now this is going to stir fry here just until the peppers, and the onions begin to get translucent. Now I can see here that it's been a couple minutes and the onions are just starting to get translucent here. And at this point I'm going to dump the spice blend for tikka masala and the garlic into the pan. And this is an important piece to get to mix this in and allow the spices to sweat in the oil with the onions and the peppers, and it just gets that flavor going so nicely. So at this point, and just like before, I'm just going to let this stir fry for just a couple minutes here and let that sweat, and then I'll be adding in the tomato. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. You can see the colors and the textures have changed, and the kitchen is just smelling absolutely phenomenal right now. I can look over in the corner and my dog's licking his lips right now as well. So at this point, now I'm ready to just go ahead and add in the tomatoes, the crushed tomatoes, the tomato paste, the basil, the oregano, and then I am going to stir this up here. And those peppers and the onions, everything mixed together, especially with those Indian spices, I can already smell it. This smell is going to remind you of a chicken tikka masala sauce. And then, so now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. I'm going to reduce the heat to low, and I'm just going to simmer it for 20 minutes. Okay, so what I got here, I've got my frying pan going, there's a little olive oil, and I'm just cooking these chicken cutlets on each side here, just for a minute. And I can see here it's getting a nice spice crust to it. And this is them when they're done. I've got my sauce cooking on one side, and I'm going to go ahead and continue cooking these until they are ready to go. Now I'm ready to layer my lasagna. My kitchen is just smelling absolutely beautiful. And so here I've got my mozzarella, got that ricotta mixture, I've got my zucchini noodles, my chicken cutlets, and I've got my sauce and some Parmesan to the side there. And so now basically the layering principle is going to be sauce, quote, noodles, ricotta, mozzarella, and then repeat. In this situation, instead of noodles, I've got chicken and I've got zucchini. So the first layer is going to be chicken. So let's go ahead and start doing this here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some sauce on the bottom of the pan here. Just spread it out a nice even layer on the bottom. So just like that. Now at this point, then I'm now going to line up all my chicken cutlets on the bottom, right on top of this sauce, the best possible way that I can, just to get as much coverage along the bottom of the pan here. So again, just like that. So it's not completely covered, but it's going to give me a nice layer on the bottom there. Now on top of this, now I'm going to go ahead and on this. Gonna spoon some ricotta on the top. And just kind of spread it around just like that. And again, this is all going to cook down into just deliciousness. Alright, so now got my ricotta mixture spread over it. Now I am going a little bit light on the ricotta, just the way I like it. But then top of this, going to sprinkle a layer of mozzarella. And now one layer is done. And now I'm ready for my next layer. So again, now a layer of sauce. And you have the ability to go ahead and layer this ahead of time and set it aside in the fridge if you're constrained for time. So again, sauce, noodles. Now in this situation, now I'm gonna put in a layer of the zucchini noodles here. I may have overestimated a little bit on the amount of zucchini that I needed here, but so just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for another layer here. That other layer of zucchini, then again ricotta. So now I've got the ricotta's all gone. Sauce, another layer of sauce. Now I've added another layer of zucchini noodles. Now on top of this, I'm going to throw in a little bit more sauce. And then on this one, I'm just going to top it with some mozzarella and some Parmesan. Sauce on there. Let me sprinkle just some more mozzarella on the top here. And then some Parmesan. You want to just get a nice even layer of cheese on the top here. And then just like that, that's when we're ready to, we're going to cover this in foil. We're going to tent the foil just a little bit, and we're going to put it in the oven at 375. Alright, so it's been baking for about 25 minutes now. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just take off the foil. That way it can finish. I can see the cheese is just starting to melt and it's just bubbling up. And it just smells absolutely amazing. So I'm going to let this cook for another 25 minutes. And the timer just went off for another 25 minutes. And look at that beautiful lasagna just bubbling away. Oh man, my entire apartment just smells absolutely gorgeous right now. And my dog is sitting there licking his lips like usual. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to let it sit. Alright, so got the lasagna out of the oven here. I mean, it just smells absolutely amazing. I cut one decent sized piece out here. I'm going to, just real quick, with this entire tray of lasagna, it's just me at home. And there's a lot of food. So I have a vacuum sealer. So I'm going to vacuum seal this. I'm going to take 3 individual meal-sized portions. I'm going to vacuum seal it. And then I'm going to keep the rest. I'm going to, meal portion, I'm going to put it in Tupperware. I'm going to stick it in the into the fridge. That's the way I can eat it for the next couple days for lunch. The rest, vacuum seal. It'll stay good in the freezer for at least 3-4 months. And can take it out. And I know 100% what's in this. No preservatives, nothing. And time to pour glass of wine and enjoy this food. Cheers. If you like this video, give me a like at the bottom, subscribe to my channel, and look forward to hearing your comments.